afraid to reinvent yourself, and don't be afraid to be different, man. You ain't got to fit in the crowd. I tell my sons all the time, why are you following everybody when you were clearly meant to lead? It's always better to just do your thing. And I don't care what situation you done got your life in, you can turn your life around, because it ain't ever too late. See, I didn't get into comedy till I was 27. I was homeless from 30 to 33. I lived in a 1976 Tempo. I lived in a car for 3 years, man. And so people see me today, they don't know where I come from. And I tell young cats all the time, man, the key is you can't ever give up.
At some point, I think we all hit that moment in life where things just are not going how you thought they would go.
Sacrifice is always required on the road to your dream. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice?
When you're in that darkness, it feels uncomfortable, but you can't wait. Sit in that darkness. Only way out is to step forward, to face your fears, to become your own light.
Anything is possible, but only if that is what you believe. See, if you're the type that says no, anything isn't possible, that will also be your reality.
If you live your life in expectations, that's what happens to you. If you live your life in despair, that's what happens to you.
And as you begin to take that process into your hands, as you begin to shape it, as you begin to craft it, you need to remember one thing. As Larry Page said, being negative is not how we make progress.
Tearing yourself down over the shit that you've done, it's not going to empower you to change the patterns that are keeping you stuck.
The moment you change the frequency that your tower emits, different things come back to you.
You become more smarter, you become more educated, you know more, but you can't come back. You cannot come back the same individual.
The aha moment is the door that opens. But your new life does not begin unless you can step through the door. I keep going. I am saying I believe in myself.
Best thing about this is that you get to decide what it decides is important. That's why if you focus on your goals being possible only for somebody else, you will see evidence of it everywhere. And if you focus on your goals being inevitable for you, you will see evidence of it everywhere.
See, the marketplace rewards those who have evolved. The marketplace rewards those who have become more valuable. You will be rewarded for the pain. Cry in secret, plead in secret, but in public you'll be rewarded.
Who you are today is just a point of reference. Don't you ever confuse your potential with who you are right now.
When you feel like giving up, don't. When you thinking about giving up, don't. When it look like you ain't gonna make it, keep going.
You do the math, you solve one problem, then you solve the next one.
And it doesn't matter how you get knocked down in life, because that's gonna happen. All that matters is that you gotta get up. You have to get up.
Whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass.
I tell people, many people wait for greatness. And they believe we have all this time to live, but we only have a moment. And I'm telling you, kings and queens, it's time to go after the dreams that we want. It's time to conquer everything that we believe in, everything that we know is deep down in our soul, and what belongs to us.
Then, you consistently keep improving in that area. From all the action, learning, and new intentions you are setting, then, from all the improvements you are making, you start believing more and more.
Greater intentions, greater beliefs mixed with action and learning creates amazing results.
Because when you see the invisible, you're able to do the impossible. Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, If you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will.
If you can stay hungry, you can get the resources. If you can stay hungry, you can get the strategy. If you can stay hungry, the ideas gonna come. If you can stay hungry, the connections will be aligned. If you can stay hungry.
And say, in spite of this, I'm in control here.
And it all starts with honesty. Ask yourself what you've been lying to yourself about. Consciously admit that you've been bullshitting yourself about that thing, and do everything in your power to go out and change it. You'll start to move forward and achieve that thing. You'll start respecting yourself more. You'll start carrying yourself differently. It ain't easy to do, but I promise you, it'll be worth it.
It is the chaos of the time that creates the conqueror in the man. So when God gets ready to reveal to you what you have in you, he will often place you in the midst of chaos to push you.
Why do you want to work out? What is your goal? The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal.
We can't work out without purpose. We need to get into our dress for the wedding. Summertime's coming, so we want to look all good. Our high school reunion's coming up, so we gotta lose weight. The biggest purpose in life isn't all that shit. It's how you respect yourself, how you look at yourself. That's an everyday journey.
Things that are difficult. When you do these difficult things, you're stressing your mind, or I should say, not even stressing your mind, exercising your mind and exercising your body's ability to manage intense situations. It's hard. It's very difficult. It's very testing.
Look at training as something that builds character, work ethic. Look at training as something that really builds confidence. Look at training that shows you how to fail and shows you how to get up and win.
If you stop working on yourself, your mind will grow weak. You must make a commitment that nothing is more important than your self-development. Because a stronger you is a better you. And a better you is better for everyone around you.
The truth is, most of the days I don't want to go to the gym, but I do, even though I don't feel like it. Doesn't matter if there's a fucking tornado, if there's a snowstorm, if there's a hurricane, if the fucking world is on fire, the job has to get done.
Every day, do something that moves you toward that goal, that keeps that goal alive and in sight and in focus. However small or insignificant that step might seem, take it, do it, make it happen, because that goal isn't going to achieve itself.
Tell the world one time what you're gonna do, and that's it. Spend less time talking and more time grinding. Think like a champion. Speak like a champion. And then walk it out. Grind 120 all day, every day.
Because you don't have to be great to start. But you need to start in order to become great. Start today on your journey to greatness.
It's what you do with what you have.
Are you capable of grappling with the fact that you're fundamentally flawed to the point where you have to break things down into almost childlike steps in order to manage them? And the answer to that is, yeah, you are.
Much of the time, our mind is like a balloon in the wind, blown here and there by external circumstances.
Sometimes you want to expand your style and like grow, and that's always good, but like never veer too far from who you are, you know, as a person.
I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue, and decisions that you're making right now, like you could be in a state of mind right now, but you could make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place.
I mean, those who have experienced the pains, difficulties, understand with their own experience the pains and sufferings of others too.
The most selfish thing you can do in this world is help someone else. Why is it selfish? Because the gratification, the goodness that comes to you, the good feeling that I get.
How many of you can honestly look yourself in the mirror and say, I am doing my best? Because if you can, you're fucking lying to yourself. Your best is a moving, evolving, changing scale.
The grind is real, and everything that you do up to this point and beyond will depend on you. Are you a grinder? Are you determined? Are you willing? Will you go that extra mile? Will you put forth the effort that is necessary to get what it is you're seeking in your life?
You can always do better. You can always do more. You can always improve. You can always find a way to get a better result and to sharpen your skills. You guys are always looking for that extra thing. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to buy this program. I'm going to join this mastermind group. I'm going to go to this seminar. None of those things will replace the fucking work. There is no shortcut. There is no way to make it faster. There is no way to make it easier. You've got to do the fucking work. You can't go through life looking to do the minimum and get the maximum. If you want the maximum, you got to fucking do the maximum. You guys got to go all in. You can't stick your fucking toe in the pool and say, oh, I don't know, this kind of feels weird. No, you have to dedicate every fucking breath, every fucking ounce of energy, and every fucking thought and effort that you possibly have to becoming what it is you want to be.
When you are a true hunter, you don't go by time, you go by the gazelle. You don't hunt from 8 to 3. Why? Because the gazelle may not be open from 8 to 3. You hunt until you get a gazelle, and you don't stop until you get one. And then you get another, and then you get another, and you get another.
Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every fucking year, for as long as it fucking takes, you should be consumed with that path. What you do at night matters. What you do in the morning matters. What you do on Saturday, what you do on Sunday matters. The success clock doesn't give a what day it is. It's going to run no matter what. If you want to get where I think you want to go, you better learn to get really used to being uncomfortable.
Because you want some different kind of results in your life, you've got to be willing to be unreasonable. If you want unreasonable results in your life, you've got to be willing to be unreasonable. Part of being unreasonable, you don't judge according to appearances. Part of being unreasonable, you concede because you believe it. That's part of being unreasonable. Part of being unreasonable, you must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. That's part of being unreasonable.
Listen to me, this is how you do it over 6-7 years ago with no money, no human resources, no building, no funding, no support. The first thing we did was we dreamed, we wrote the dream down, we slept the dream, we ate the dream, we rehearsed the dream, we looked at the dream, we talked about the dream, we slept with the dream, we woke up to the dream, we wore the dream, and now boom, it's our reality.
And so I started going to work earlier. I started being the last one to leave there. I started working harder than anybody else. The other guys could not. Why would you work so hard, Les? I said, I'm not working for them. I've been cheating myself and my family. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, do it with everything that you have. Develop the habit of giving more than what you're paid for. Develop the habit of setting standards that others will be measured by. Someone said, do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail.
We can't work out without purpose. We need to get into our dress for the wedding. Summertime's coming, so we want to look all good. The biggest purpose in life isn't all it. It's how you respect yourself, how you look at yourself. That's an everyday journey. So every day you should be getting after it. We look at determination, self-discipline. We look at hard work. All these terms, almost like we dread them. So don't look at them as dread and punishment. Look at those words as a lifestyle. Stay hard.
Betray your destiny and see how long it takes you to be drowning in a storm
It'll happen immediately, and of course it will, because what's calling you to be your best is exactly the thing that's pushing you forward to manifest yourself most fully in the world. It's what you need. You run away from that, the boat's going to start to rock very, very quickly. Well, what does that mean? Well, what else would come out of chaos? You know, if you fall apart and then you put yourself back together, what is it that comes back out? Well, at least you're in better shape than you were before, you know, and then maybe you do that 20 times in your life, or 50 times, and you do it voluntarily.
In short, 92% of the average person's worries take up valuable time, cause painful stress, even mental anguish, and are absolutely unnecessary. And of the real legitimate worries, there are two kinds. There are the problems we can solve, and there are the problems beyond our ability to personally solve. But most of our real problems usually fall into the first group, the ones we can solve if we learn how.
You cannot be great being a lesser version of what already exists. You can only be great when you execute against your own potential and do your own development. And that means getting up there and looking like a clown. If you want to be great, if you want to be one of the best that's ever fucking lived at what you do, you have to understand that it's about developing our own skills. It's about developing our own style. It's about developing our own swagger. It's about developing our own selves.
And what mountains could we move, I think? What gridlock could we eradicate if we were to join forces and work together in service of something greater than ourselves? You know, my deepest satisfaction and my biggest rewards have come from exactly that. Pick a problem, any problem, and do something about it, because to somebody who's hurting, something is everything. And what I know for sure is that the biggest choices begin and end with you, your internal big questions. Who do I want to be in the world? My relationship to source energy, to all that is God. I'm not talking about what you believe in God. I'm talking about your experience of that which is all life, which is divine and universal. I'm talking about the big deal. Being connected and aligned with that. When you are tuned in and charged into that, whenever you feel empty, you go inside yourself and you connect to the source, and you know that all things are possible.
Your life doesn't have meaning without aspiration or an aim. Okay, so you need a hierarchy of values. There's got to be something at the top. It's got to be something important. If you don't have that, your life doesn't have any meaning. So if you criticize the hierarchy, or even the idea of hierarchy, you destroy the idea of aspiration. And then people have nothing. Well, that's not helpful. People are built for a struggle, and they're built for a weight. And you want to take on a heavy burden voluntarily. See if you can put yourself together. See what you can do out in the world while you're waiting to die. It's an all-in game. It better be worthwhile. And so there's a tight relationship between responsibility and aspiration and hierarchy. And when you criticize those things, you get rid of the aspiration. We are thrown challenges, and that in some sense those are best construed as tests of our ethical ability. So what Jung thought, his idea was something like this, that at the beginning of time, people were unconscious, and that consciousness emerged with all of its catastrophes, consciousness of death, for example. And one way out of the burden of consciousness was to return to unconsciousness. You can do that with alcohol. You can do that by being dependent. You can do that by failing to grow up. You refuse the burden of consciousness by becoming unconscious again. But there's another way forward, which is to become even more conscious. So the idea would be a little bit of consciousness is like an illness. But if you can expand that consciousness upwards enough, then it starts to become something that is its own cure. And that partly what your goal is while you suffer through life is to heighten your consciousness to the point where everything gets integrated enough so that that's proper medication for the disease of self-consciousness.
So we live in this perception of ourselves. Hence, my identity is made by what my parents think I should be. My identity is made up by what my college or university thinks I should achieve. While you're living in that bubble and that echo chamber, getting to what you really want to do is impossible, because maybe that just doesn't fit. And I think so many people feel that way today, that they don't fit into the current education system. They don't fit with the 3 or 4 or 5 careers that you're taught exist. So that process of self-excavation and actualization first requires being exposed. You can't be what you can't see.
And what we have to do in order to get to that place where we can take the keys and unlock the self-imposed prisons, or the prisons that we have given ourselves on the basis of what we have come to believe is our limitations, what we can and can't do. We have to let go of that. And I call it rewriting our agreement with reality.
I will wake up with a new mindset for myself, for my future. The sky's the limit to your dreams. You can go beyond the stars if you make it up in your mind that you won't be stuck.
You gotta take that thing out, like, you gotta take the breath out. So some of y'all are afraid of math. Go after it. Go get it. Don't run from it no more. Go get it. You gotta go get it. It's possible.
At the end of the day, you're going to go as far as you're willing to fight for, and that's it. And if you're willing to fight to go all the way, then you will go that far. You will set a new bar. You will define for people what is possible.
You just have to have the drive and willpower to go through that next door and give it your all. We all must become the leaders that we're looking for. We got this.
Men and women begin to become great only when they begin to take time by themselves to listen to their inner voices and organize their lives in such a way that their activities and relationships give them a deep sense of inner peace. The first step that you can take to personal greatness is to sit down quietly and look over your life to determine the areas where you're not experiencing the peace of mind and happiness that you really want. You'll find that this is a very easy exercise to do because your mind is continually preoccupied with these problems, just like a person sitting on a tack would be preoccupied with the pain. Your job is to get off the tack. Your responsibility to yourself is to realize that you can never make someone else happy by being unhappy yourself, just as you can never make someone else healthy by being sick. You should not sacrifice your happiness in an attempt to somehow achieve the happiness of another person. You'll only end up making no one happy, especially yourself. In the play Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand, Cyrano, the great individualist, is asked why it is that he is so outspoken and so self-assertive. He answers with this beautiful line. He says, "I choose the line of least resistance in this, that I will please at least myself in all things." When you make the decision that, for better or worse, you will please at least yourself in all things, only then will you be truly happy. And only then, it seems, will you be able to help anyone else to be happy as well. The second law of happiness is the law of emotion. It says that human beings are 100% emotional in everything they think and feel and decide. I used to think that people were 90% emotional and 10% logical. However, both research and experience contradicts this conclusion. People are totally emotional in everything they do. If a person says to you that he's decided to do the logical thing, it simply means that he has more emotion devoted to that course of action than he does to another course of action, and he uses the word logical to justify his decision. Someone once said that no matter how old you become, you always have the emotions of a teenager. This may or may not be true, but the central impact of your emotions and feelings is a key component in both understanding and achieving your own happiness. The first part of the law of emotion is that you are motivated by two major groups of emotions, those of love or desire and those of fear or loss. These are the positive emotions and the negative emotions. These emotions were described by Sigmund Freud as emotions associated with pleasure and emotions associated with pain. You have a tendency to move toward those experiences you associate with pleasure or happiness, and you have a tendency to move away from those experiences you associate with pain or unhappiness. This is the essence of the pleasure principle that I mentioned earlier. The second part of this law of emotion says that the content of your emotional life is largely determined by the thoughts you dwell upon most of the time. This is such a simple and obvious truth that it's often overlooked by most people. It simply says that if you think happy thoughts, you will be a happy person. If you think angry thoughts, you'll be an angry person. If you think about the things that people have done to hurt you and the reasons you have to be angry or unhappy, you'll be negative, pessimistic, and eventually you'll be depressed. Abraham Lincoln once wrote, "A man is just about as happy as he makes up his mind to be." Well, this is true for you and true for me.
Let life touch you. Don't let it kill you, but at least let it touch you. The next touch could open up the wellspring you'll never lack for desire for the rest of your life. From shortly after the time I met my teacher, Mr. Shope, at age 25, no one's ever had to say to me all these years, "When are you gonna get going?" Nobody's ever said that to me all these years. I've heard, "When are you gonna slow down? You're gonna have a heart attack and die. You can't keep up this kind of calendar." But nobody's ever said to me, "When are you gonna get going?" I'm asking you to keep searching for life experiences until you find one that lights your fires, until you will never lack for desire for the rest of your life. And nobody will ever have to say to you the rest of your life, "When are you gonna get off the couch?" Welcome all experiences. Don't put up the wall. The same wall that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness. Take the risk. And here's the last emotion that can change your life in a single day. It's called resolve. Resolve says, "I will." Two of the most powerful words in the language. I gave you the formula for disasters. Could, should, don't. Here's the formula for fortune. Should, could, will. I will. I should. I can. And I will. Two of the most powerful words in the language. I will. Benjamin Disraeli once said, "Nothing can resist a human will that will stake even its existence on its purpose." I'll do it or die. What a powerful set of words. A man says, "I will climb the mountain." They've told me it's too high, it's too far, it's too difficult, it's too rocky, it's never been done before. The man says, "Hey, it's my mountain, I'll climb it." Pretty soon you'll see me waving from the top or dead on the side, 'cause I ain't coming back. Best definition of resolve I ever got was from a junior high girl, Foster City, California. I love to talk to kids and ask them definitions. They come up with beauty. I got to this word and I said to the kids, "Who can tell me what resolve means?" Some didn't know, and some tried. It was interesting. The best one I got was a little girl about 3 rows back. She said, "Mr. Owen, I think I know." I said, "What?" She said, "I think resolve means promising yourself you will never give up." I said, "That's the best I've ever heard. You can't say it any better than that. Promise yourself you will never give up. You don't have to promise me. You don't have to promise the world. Just promise yourself." What a great bit of language. I asked the kids, how long should a baby try to learn how to walk? How long would you give your average baby before he shut off? That's enough. No, any mother in the world would say you're silly. My baby's going to keep trying what? Until. What a magic word, until. How many books will you read? Until you find the answer for your good health? Read 1 and quit? Read 2 and quit? Risk a cardiovascular disaster? I can't buy that from you. Wouldn't you read enough books until? Wouldn't you read enough books on financial independence until you become financially independent? Wouldn't you read enough books on leadership until you become a leader? Wouldn't you read enough books on power until you've got the power? Of course, why not? Don't settle for less. Use this little until phrase. I'll do enough exercises until I become healthy. I'm out of breath now, but I'll put myself through enough disciplines until I'm no longer out of breath. I'm not going to walk up one flight of stairs and can't catch my breath. It's over. Until magic.